Hey there friends, it's Nick. Are you a story hacker? Well, that's the question for today, and I'm just going to run through the definition. I mean, I tell you what, you definitely are. You definitely are a storyteller because evolution has baked that into us. And part of the reason for that, as we'll get in another video, is that stories kind of act as a sort of flight simulator, if you like. In other words, they allow us to experience dangerous situations, whether that's physical peril or emotional damage or relationship problems or whatever it is. They allow us to experience the issues without the real danger being there. And it's one of the reasons why we are so dialed into stories in particular and figuring out what happens next. So we're all storytellers, but with story hackers, I think I shared the definition in a welcome video, but story hackers deliberately deploy the science of storytelling to influence the power and perception and meaning of their messages. And just as a quick aside, if you're a copywriter, you might have noticed the alliteration there. We've got deliberately deployed, we've got science of stories, we've got power, perception, and we've got meaning and message. And I did that quite deliberately to increase the fluency of the definition. So let's just examine those four couplets. So deliberately deploy. A story hacker is someone who is doing it on purpose. They're not just sort of randomly doing it. They've studied the craft and they're using these techniques to purposefully increase the power of their message. So what are they using? They're using the science of storytelling. Very important, I think, that we don't see storytelling as something that kind of is painted on at the end of a product or a service, or just something that's added to a web page, because, as I said, stories are baked into each of us, or that desire to close a story, if you like, is baked into each of us at a genetic level, an evolutionary level. So we really need to think about those in very practical business-like terms. I mean, it's certainly true for my business, the business that I sold last year. In 2002, we were almost bankrupt, and it wasn't really until I began to understand the power of stories in terms of selling us, particularly the stories that our clients were telling about our work, that we climbed out of that hole. So, very practical discipline. And so we're using the science of stories to influence the perception and power of our stories. So that's very important. The techniques that we're going to be going through on this channel will slot into the stories you're already using and help you increase their sort of resonance and virality and what have you. And finally, the meaning of the message. And again, it's using these techniques to drive home the important thing that you want people to learn or remember or do. Because in the end, the reason that most of us are communicating at all is because we want to make a change in the world, right? And stories are a brilliant tool to do that. So if you watch the videos and if you apply these principles, some of which are very simple tweaks to stories you're already using, then you'll be a story hacker. And that's the community we're building. So thanks for coming along for the ride, and see you in another video.